Hey there. Moms like us do things like this, and some of us are being called helicopter moms. Have you ever been called a helicopter mom? Like today, we're going to talk about it. Moms like us do things like this, and I'm going to tell you my helicopter mom story. Hey, welcome to Moms Like Us Do Things Like This. Because moms like us, we do things like this. I have to tell you, you're getting ready to go back to school. Everybody's getting ready to go back to school. And some of us aren't putting our kids in school. And some of us are doing part-time school and part-time homeschool. And some of us have decided that we're just going to put our kids in a private school. But there's across the board, moms are doing all kinds of things. And moms like us, well, we've really got to figure out what is best for our kids. There's never been a time before in the history of the world where you have the ability or the chance of being called a helicopter mom. And I, Mona, your mom mentor, am here today to tell you exactly what I think about that and my own helicopter mom story. You know, if you've been called a helicopter mom, you're not alone. You're not alone. I was called a helicopter mom when my kids were small. And I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to say when somebody tells you that. So hang on to the end. It's really good. But the truth is, sweetheart, God gave you those kids. He gave you and your man these children. And as you know, you're responsible for them. Like you felt that when you brought that baby home. We talked about that before, how you left the hospital and you're like, are they really going to let me take this kid home? I don't know what to do. And sometimes we don't know what to do, and we can get help. And moms like us and the Moms Like Us Academy and, mentors and older mamas are always a great source of learning new things. However, when a school or a coach or someone outside of the realm of your trusted sources to get education and wisdom start labeling you, it's time for you to think about exactly, number one, what you're doing. Number two, are you okay with what you're doing? And number three, do you really want your kid being influenced by this particular person and what you're going to do about it? So, as it goes, you may have to learn things. You may not know everything about raising a kid, but that doesn't mean that someone else can tell you what is right for your kid and tell you that you need to just let them handle it. Now, I did run into this. I have been, of course, as you know, I have 5 kids and they're all full grown. The youngest one's like 24. And when my oldest, which is probably the age of a lot of you, when he was in school, we had some things going on in our school system and the moms around us, we didn't like it. It was a curriculum that was coming in. We were not okay with it. And it's, nothing new, right? And we needed to be able to have input, and we weren't being heard. We weren't able to get the curriculum board to allow us to see what they're doing. So without the internet, with a phone that has a really long cord, we managed to find out what our rights were in our school system, to find out what our rights were as far as religious beliefs and what was going on in the school. And we were able to take the steps and make our voices heard. This is what we have to do. And in the meantime, I got called a lot of names. Mama Bear making fun of me, and helicopter mom like I'm a wild goose and my kids are going to this was a good one. My kids are going to go off to college and they're going to go crazy and because I'm just like whatever. You know what they say. Well, that's not what happened. Because I knew what was going on with my kids. And if I didn't know what the curriculum was, then I found out And then I decided whether or not my children were going to be using that curriculum. At that time, we were able to replace maybe some books that they were reading for book reports, or we could opt out of things. We could change. We could change teachers. We could change a lot of things. That may not be the case now, but I would guess that you have more authority than you think. I spent a lot of time in front of the school board. I made a lot of appointments with the teacher. I made a lot of appointments with the principal and the vice principal and the curriculum board. And you know what? I wasn't the only one. There are lots of other parents that would, my husband would come. We would go as a group and go and address our issues to the board or whoever we were talking to. There is a chain of command. Now, if you don't get your chain of command, then you might have to make some posters and go stand out in front of your school to let other mothers know, hey, we're having this problem and would you like to join us? Yeah, you might have to. And if that's the case, then you should. Because you know what? It's your kid. It's your school. It's your money that's going to the school. And you know what, sweetie? You have a responsibility. Nowadays, we can't just say, oh, they know best. Why do they know best? Why do they know best? Why do they know better than you what's good for your kid? Why do they know best? Why? It's reading, writing, and arithmetic, right? It's supposed to be a curriculum. I want to encourage you that no matter what they call you, sweetheart, it's your responsibility. No matter what kind of school you put your kids in. My kids, the last three, 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess the last 4. Eventually, we exited the public school, and we went to a private school with the other 4. And that didn't make me say, oh, well, this is a private school. This is going to be amazing. I'm perfect here. No, I wanted to know the curriculum. I wanted to know about the teachers. I wanted to know what extra things they were going to be adding. And I went and asked. And you don't have to be like a meanie. You just very simply, at the beginning of the school year, which it's now, just ask. I'd like to stay up on what's going on with what my kid's learning so I can supplement at home, and we can talk about the things that you're talking about. If you're talking about rocks, we can do rocks, And so I'd like to see the syllabus, please. The syllabus is the outline of what they're going to teach. It's, it's not super in depth, but you'll know what they're going to teach and what books they're going to be using. And if they won't give it to you, you have a right to have it. You'll have to go to someone else to get it, but you have a right to have it. Now, right now, with the system here in Texas, with the standardized testing, now the standardized testing, you're not going to be allowed to see that, and we haven't been allowed to see actually what is written on there. If you're a parent and you want to see just even a sample of an old one, no one's allowed to see a standardized test. And if a teacher gives you one, they're in big trouble. So that's been going on for a really long time. That should make you really upset, just saying. But it's true. They don't have to show it to you for some reason. There's lots of reasons why you need to be involved and know what's going on in your school. I don't think I have to tell you. They're telling kids different things, and different things are coming up, and you kind of need to know where the people are coming from. I'm going to give you another little tip, a tip that I learned as a helicopter mom, and that's they can have a curriculum, but you need to ask them this: are you allowed to bring in outside resources? What outside resources are you going to be using? Because they can bring in outside resources, at least in the state of Texas they can. And they can use it. So we fought and fought and fought to get this really good sex education. We were all in agreement, the parents, the teachers, the superintendent, everybody worked really hard with the curriculum, and we researched all stuff, and we felt all so good because we had all worked together to find this great sex education curriculum that they wanted for the 7th graders. And we were all happy. And then we found out that the superintendent was very clear to the teachers that they didn't have to use it, that they could use outside resources. So you need to be aware that that is something that can be happening. And ask what they are. Like, don't be a meanie. Don't have to be a grouch. You don't have to go in there with your chip on your shoulder. But you do have to be responsible. You have to know what they're teaching your children. And as a lot of moms that I've talked to in the last little while, they I got to tell you about this. They are telling me that they had no idea, but through COVID, they started watching about what was being taught and how it was being taught, and not just how it was being taught, but like that one of the teachers would tell the kids to read the chapter, and then do the homework, and then the teacher would teach what they didn't get right. So she didn't like that. She's like, this is backwards. Like, the kids are learning, they're basically teaching themselves through the book, and so they've learned it one way, and now the teacher's going to go back and say, no, that's not the right way. This is the right way. So, I mean, it can be something as simple as that, where you need to intervene with that. Our youngest daughter was from Brazil, and she could not speak English. She was fully illiterate. She did not, when she came to live with us, she was 9 or whatever. We're not sure how old she was actually. So, but when we got her, we needed to be able to be real intuitive about what she was reading and everything. And I was kind of thinking, well, they know that she can't read very good. But as she got better at reading, I kind of quit looking at the books that she was reading. Guess I got lazy on my last one, right? You know what I found out? My sweet little girl, who didn't know how to speak English very well, but by that time she was very good at English, they had her reading Romeo and Juliet. Now you're like, Mona, that's not a big deal. Why is that a big deal? Well, because it's Old English. And she was crying in her room every night because she couldn't understand the dialect. And I had dropped the ball. My little girl, who barely knew how to do English, and in her native language, which was Portuguese, she had no education in that language because she didn't know what an elevator was, like the words that she learned and the education she had was English. So she didn't know how to translate it back to Portuguese. That made me sad because I should have been paying attention. So you need to pay attention. And it's okay if they call you names. And it's okay if they call you a helicopter mom. Because I want to tell you, I believe that a helicopter mom is a badge of honor. Kind of like the mama bear. I had my coffee in here today. I've forgotten that I did. Mama bear. You don't mind being called mama bear, do you? Because it's a protector. But let me tell you something about a mama bear. Do you know where that phrase came from? A mama bear is a description of a female bear when she is fighting for her young, which we kind of know that. But let me tell you what happens. When a mama bear is nursing and has young, and the male bear wants to come and play around, he will kill all of the baby bears so that he can get this mama bear into heat and he can mate with her. Yeah, it's kind of sad, isn't it? But a mama bear won't do that. She will rise up and fight to the death to protect her children, to protect her young. This is what we are. And a helicopter mom, she's kind of doing the same thing. She may be above, hovering with the blades going, which I actually think is good. I'm hovering, I'm looking, I'm paying attention, I'm aware of what's going on. I'm not down on the ground picking up everything and handing it to my kids. I'm aware. I have a full view. I have a full view of the curriculum, the coaches, the kids on the team, the kids that are coming to our house, the way my children's acting, the way other children are acting while they're with my children. I have a full view of what's going on with the principals, what's going on in the school, what issues there are. I have a full view, a big overview of what's going on in my child's life. And so I find being called a helicopter mom quite a compliment. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you the one last thing that I say, and then I'm going to let y'all go. You little helicopter moms, you. One day I got kind of mad. I was being pressed, and I was being, they didn't make me feel that way. I was feeling that way, but that was their intention, to have me be quiet, sit down, be quiet, don't interfere, and to basically shame me into continuing to ask questions. And they called me helicopter mom one too many times. And this mom, she looked at them and she said, you know what? You're darn right. I am a helicopter mom. And you know what, little girl? Well, it's a lady. You know what, lady? You better be careful and step back a little bit, because these blades are sharp and they're running. Isn't that terrible? But it's true. I was absolutely happy to be a helicopter mom, because I was going to not back down. I was not going to shut up, and I was not going to sit down. And in fact, my blades were running at high speed, I might add. So that's the little fun for today. It's such an honor to be a mom, and it's such a privilege to be able to work with the school and work with the community and come up with great answers and cooperate and allow your children to see freedom worked out, and you know, just the whole process of negotiation and all of that. It is a privilege to show your kids how to do that and how to do it well. And if you have to make a poster and stand outside to let other moms know you're there, then that's a privilege too, because we live in America, and it's freedom. It's freedom of speech. It's freedom to raise your children. It's the freedom to have a say in what happens. So that's my sweet talk to you today as you all get ready to go back to school. Because you know what? Moms like us, we do things like this. We take care of our kids, and we watch, and we pay attention, and we intervene if we have to. But we have a high blade going above them, and we are watching, and we are taking care of the responsibility of the great privilege that we have to be moms. Okay, that's it for today, and I will see you next time on Moms Like Us Do Things Like This. Bye for now.